This is episode 533 on the 13th of June 2022. Just like the first 20 over match, in which, despite scoring over 200 runs, India were not able to defend the score, the second one did not go according to plan. In fact, according to pseudo experts, the things which were looking good in the first match with players hitting sixes and fours for fun, it just went bad because India only managed to score 140 plus runs in that match. There was a middle order collapse, and only because they were able to score over 30 runs in the last few overs that they managed to reach 140 plus runs. But it wasn't enough, because if it was an unknown name in Vassie Vanderson, though he is not unknown in South African circles and in their domestic and international tournaments, he is still an unknown factor in the subcontinent, because we are still obsessed with a few players, including AB de Villiers. Well, we only obsessed with AB de Villiers because for us, a South African team means David Miller, who has become a force in the past couple of years, and AB de Villiers, who has been doing the job, or who did the job for 18 plus years, and maybe a few other bowlers in Steyn, and then in the contemporary times over the past 7 years, Rabada. So Henrik Larsson was an unknown individual, at least as far as this part of the world was concerned. So when he did what he did in the match, when he came at 30 for 3 and hit 80 of 40 plus balls, making sure that South Africa would take a 2-0 lead, meaning they are one match away from winning this series. And as I said last time, the loss in this tournament is not going to have a huge impact. But as I said in the last episode, the moment Rohit Sharma, Rahul, and a few others were rested because of injuries or whatever reasons, and Rishabh Pant was made the captain or the interim captain for this particular tournament, the anti-Rishabh Pant campaign started. I did say that this anti-Rishabh Pant campaign now only becomes bigger. Why? Because once again his captaincy skills will be scrutinized. Which bowler to bring when he erred in captaincy, and of course something as ridiculous as a toss, which you cannot control. As everyone knows, toss is something which cannot be controlled. If it goes your way, it goes your way. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Why do we make such a huge deal about something as mundane as a toss? But we do, because we think that toss is also a skill. No, it's not. Toss is nothing more than luck. So if South Africa wins the toss, which is irrelevant anyways, and they bowl first and they restrict India to 6 for 148 after Gaikwad, a player whom I think will go on to score more than 10,000 runs across at least in 50 overs and 5-day matches, but he's not exactly getting into the groove, so he is on the fringes. According to newspapers, the individuals in this list, barring 3 individuals in Shreyas Iyer, Pant and Hardik Pandya, and maybe Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and up to some extent Chahal, rest of them are in the fringes, which means they are not the main players. They are just the supporting cast, which means Akshar Patel, Dinesh Karthik, Harshul Patel, Avish Khan are just fillers for the individuals who will eventually replace them. Maybe Karthik finds himself somewhere between fringe and the main cast, but this tournament is seen as a tournament where can he continue to create chances so that he can be selected for the World Cup. Age factor will always be a point, and of course, having more than two wicket keepers will also come into the picture. But was this that disastrous a performance? If you ask me, no, it wasn't that disastrous. I would still give 8 out of 10 for this performance because I don't think it's the end of the world. And of course, are we missing the big players? What defines big and what defines fringe? Well, the individuals who write articles in the newspapers are the fringes because they're also fighting for a job. They're trying to impress their bosses by writing articles which are in negative light, because if you write positive articles, people will not read those articles, so they are also under a bit of pressure to write all kinds of negative articles. So how do I look at this particular match? If we have to go into details, of course 148 is never enough if you lose the match. And then when an unknown player in Henrik Larsson, I knew who he was, but he was unknown for a while, does what he does in this particular tournament, in this particular match, rather, by hitting fours and sixes for fun, and at a point in which the required run rate was over 10 runs per over, he attacked the spinners, and that was the end, as it is when you attack accomplished spinners who are supposed to be the backbone of the teams, on which the teams rely to create an impact. The moment you do that, that's the end of the match. But how would I still look at this match? I am not disappointed by the performance. In the last two matches, the South African team have had a bit of a luck, a bit of a fluke, because the moment the ball hits the bat, they create enough power that the ball sails over the boundary rope and it goes for a six. And when the same shot was attempted by an Indian batter, it didn't have that kind of force behind it, so the momentum did not take the ball out of the ground, but rather the momentum took the ball into the hands of the fielder. So the same shot can go out of the ground, out of the park, and the same shot, if not created with that much force, can go into the hands of the fielder. But the PPED media, as always, is on the negative side. They're looking for flaws. They're saying that the big names are not there. No Bumrah, no Shami, no Rohit, no Rahul, no Virat Kohli. And the individuals in this tournament, most of them are in the fringe department. And the anti-Pant campaign continues. So let me just give you this particular phrase. Striving for excellence motivates you. Striving for perfection is demoralizing. The performances in the two matches have been excellent so far, but the PPED media is pushing for perfection. No one is perfect. Yes, you can say that the South Africans have had a bit of a luck, so their performances have been perfect, but there's a bit of luck involved as well. So I wouldn't be so excited about the South African performance. Of course, one more match in their favor and they win the series, and then the anti-Pant campaign grows even louder. They ran into the class of Henrik Larsson, but as I said, it's luck. Such things always factor around luck. But was it a poor performance? No, I would not go in that direction. I would still give 8 out of 10 for this performance. And if I tell you that the Indian team will win the next 3 matches, you will laugh. How is that possible? Indian team never wins anything. And even if they win, we see that as a bit of, okay, they won, but nothing that great. But we have created this aura around, oh, a strong South African team, a strong New Zealand team, a stronger Australian team. That's the mindset which has been created. That's how our minds have been warped. That's how our minds have been shaped. That when it comes to sports like hockey, then teams like Netherlands and Germany and Malaysia and Japan and Belgium are strong teams. So Indian, if you have such teams in hockey, India will never be able to win that particular hockey tournament. In football, well, India, it's a shame that when it comes to football, India will never reach and even play in the Football World Cup. It's a shame. I don't see the point of having all these tournaments like Durand Cup and Santosh Trophy, or teams like Mohan Bagan and East Bengal, because all this has not led to an Indian football team playing in the World Cup. Forget playing in the World Cup, we have to play qualifying matches to play in the Asia Cup, which is a matter of shame, not a matter of pride. So why aren't we celebrating the couple of wins which happened in football, and then the 1-all result in hockey in which we beat Belgium? But of course, as it happens, you win one, you lose one. It's fine, it's acceptable. But that's the way things are. And if it will take another 100 years before India even manages to play in a football World Cup. Teams like Germany may qualify for a cricket World Cup, but India qualifying for a football World Cup is a pipe dream. It will take another 100 to 150 years before this happens. The way the football infrastructure is there, the way our attitude towards our own Indian football is, the way we are obsessed with European football and South American football, the way we get excited with teams like Denmark and Germany and Italy and Spain and Portugal win or qualify for the World Cup, or we are sad when one of these teams don't qualify for the World Cup. So a team like Germany, Italy may qualify for the Cricket World Cup, but India's qualification in a Football World Cup, forget the World Cup, even at the Asia Cup level, is something which will look like, if I say that India could play the Football World Cup in the next few years, you will say, Football World Cup, India, who cares? There's Belgium, there's France, there's Italy, there's Germany, there's Portugal, there's the overhyped Messi, Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah, Harry Kane. Who cares about Sunil Chhetri and his contemporary when you have flukes like Ronaldo and Messi and Mohamed Salah? No one cares about an Indian football team. Anyways, even the broadcaster does not televise that on a regular channel, but they do it on a fringe channel which most individuals won't subscribe to, so you won't even know that a match is happening. That's our attitude towards football. Our attitude towards other sports is slowly getting more regularized, but it will take time. So these matches in which India is playing the football qualifiers, or the hockey pro league tournament, or the India South Africa series, or any other tournament, they are playing 3-4 matches over a period of a week or 2 weeks, which means they do get adequate rest. But a new theory has emerged, the 4-day work week. It does baffle me that what is the 4-day work week, and do we really need to get affected? Because the premise is that if we work more in a less amount of time, the productivity coming out is more. Are humans only working to be more productive? Can't we just work to have fun? And do we need to be so rigid about whether it's a 4-day work week or something else? But that's how the thing is. Now, the advantages for this particular 4-day work week theory is that it helps to strike a balance between work and life. Let me tell you, work-life balance is a figment of our imagination. Saying that people are stressed is a figment of our imagination, increases the morale of the employees. Well, why do you want to be an employee of some other individual? And how will me working for somebody else and they giving me a 4-day week affect my morale? It won't, because I'm working for somebody else eventually. My paycheck is dependent on somebody else's benevolence. That's been the case forever, whether I work for 4 days or 3 days or 3 hours in a week. I'm not in control. Can reduce stress and anxiety. What are we stressed about? Not being able to complete deadlines, anxious about pleasing our immediate bosses. Well, I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. Nothing makes me anxious and I'm never stressed. Why? Because I'm in control. For me, it's not 4-day work week. For me, it's just working 30 minutes a week and then rest of the time just 90 minutes in a week. If I don't include other activities, 90 minutes in a week, which is not even 1/4 of what people work. People are happy working 12, 13 hours a day because it brings them a paycheck, it brings them a promotion. People are happy with minor things like promotion because the paycheck is affected. But does it matter? I don't think so. Are people stressed about work-life balance? Well, I am not. I was never. I think it's subjective and imaginary. It's nothing more than a stunt. People say work-life balance. Balance between what you do, how you go about doing your work, how you go about living your life. Well, it's subjective. For me, it hasn't affected me. Will the shift to a 4-day work week lead to increase in productivity? Well, if the only thing that we see through humans is that you have to be productive, you have to be perfection, you have to strive for perfection, you have to strive for excellence, then I don't see the point. That's the most important thing in this whole discussion. The word productivity signals that we see human beings as robots, that you have to be perfect, that errors are not acceptable. 1%, even a 0.1% of error is not acceptable. You have to be perfect. If you work 4 days a week or 3 days a week, and if you take a couple of days off from work, what does that mean? I don't know. You will be more productive, you will be more happy. Working more hours in less number of days might lead to happiness. Striving for looking at other activities. Doesn't matter how many hours in a day or how many days in a week we work. No, you can work 1 hour a day. Make sure that whatever project you do, you give it your best, but don't be affected by deadlines. Don't be affected whether someone else will be happy with my project. We always will be affected by that because that's what defines humanity. But stress, work-life balance, morale are just subjective terms. Who is stressed? Why are people stressed? I don't know. What people are stressed about the most mundane and unnecessary things. People are stressed about relationships, friendships. Who cares about such things? Why do we need to take such things seriously? Friendships, relationships are all superficial. Stress is superficial. Being productive is being a robot, and that is something I do not agree with. If you make errors, make errors. But we expect people to be perfect 4-day work week is because if people work all day, then at the end of the week they are stressed, they are fidgety, they are angry, they will take out their anger on someone else who asked them to work 12 hours a day. Take a day off, take a couple of hours off, and then we are happy when we take a couple of days off and we go and do some off work activities. Let me tell you, nobody is free or people are not working. Somebody is always working. You just have to make sure that you're not affected by superficial things like stress, superficial things like being productive all the time. If you make errors, you make errors. Or superficial things like work-life balance. We all know what the life in work-life balance means. So why should we be affected by that? Why should we tend to take the life part seriously? If you enjoy your work, work won't be work. As I said in my last episode, if you enjoy your work, work won't be work. It won't make a difference whether you're balancing things or not. If you can't go and you don't need some special thing to go and enjoy yourself. Go and watch a movie, even if it's in the middle of a project. Nobody will say anything. You don't have to tell the whole world, I'm going and watching a movie or I'm going out. Yes, projects get delayed. They get delayed. No one cares about that. So as far as the 4-day work week is concerned, I don't see how it will strike a balance between work and life when both are at a superficial level. How will it increase the morale of the employees? If the employees need their morale to be increased, that too by an authority figure, then you may as well forget it. Can reduce stress and anxiety. What are people stressed about? It baffles me. What are people anxious about? I don't know.
It's 8:30.
So this ends episode number 533 on the 13th of June 2022. Stay tuned for the next episode on the 15th of June with episode number 534.